Do you have an exam coming up for a major joint, knees, back, shoulders? You're not sure what information the examiner is going to be looking for? Welcome to VA Made Easy. I'm VA accredited attorney and U.S. Army combat veteran Ed Farmer. Today we're going to give a general overview of joint exams and what the examiner is looking for. Specifically, we're going to talk about functional loss and flare-ups and how you could use those concepts to maximize your rating. If you've been denied your claim, visit me at vetlawoffice.com. I provide zealous advocacy. I'll prep you for C&P exams. I have access to VA medical nexus opinions. There's no fee unless I win. Visit me at vetlawoffice.com or call 1-800-700-4174. But for now, let's get into it. All right, so we're just going to do a general overview of how joint exams are conducted and what information you need to provide the examiner in order to maximize your rating. Specifically, we're going to look at functional loss and flare-ups and how you can use those concepts to maximize your rating. So more or less, all joint conditions are rated based on range of motion. So how far you can bend or flex that joint. The less range of motion, typically the higher the rating, but not all joint cases are based on range of motion. So I highly recommend that you look at the diagnostic code for the joint that's being examined and make sure you're hitting all those criteria, or discuss this with your VA accredited representative. First, let's talk about functional loss. So what functional loss is, it's the inability to use a joint normally due to such factors as pain or fatigue. Functional loss is important because the VA is only supposed to measure your range of motion up to the point where you begin experiencing that functional loss. Let me give you an example so you can understand. Let's say you're trying to get ready for your right shoulder condition. Now, you can lift your right shoulder all the way up to 90 degrees, but you begin to experience pain at about the 45-degree mark. That 45-degree mark is where they're supposed to measure your range of motion from, and at the point where the VA is supposed to rate that range of motion. So when you're going through the VA C&P exam and they're having you do the range of motion, you need to tell them where you begin to feel pain during that process. Scream on pain if you have to. Don't let the examiner manually manipulate that joint. The point you begin to feel pain is the point where they're supposed to measure the range of motion, and they're supposed to notate that on the exam. The next important concept when it comes to rating joint cases is flare-ups. Now, my definition of flare-ups is not the legal definition. This is what I usually tell clients before they go into the exam. A flare-up is an activity that either increases your pain or reduces your range of motion. Flare-ups are important because if the flare-up results in an additional loss of range of motion, the VA is now supposed to rate you based on that additional loss of range of motion. Let me give you another example so you understand flare-ups. Again, we're going to use the right shoulder as an example. Now, let's say you have a job that requires you to lift things over your head all day long, and by the time you're done with your shift, your right shoulder is fatigued. And because of that fatigue, you can only now lift your shoulder up to 25 degrees until sort of that fatigue goes away. Well, now the VA is supposed to rate you based on that 25 degrees and not the 45 degrees that you had just based on pain. So it could result in additional compensation to you. So the examiners are supposed to ask you about flare-ups, and they're supposed to estimate based on that flare-up how much it would reduce your range of motion. But I would not leave this information up to the examiner. As every C&P exam, the more information you give about your condition, the better off you are going to be. So I would come up with one or two specific activities that cause flare-ups. Again, that's a reduction in range of motion or increase in pain. Explain it to the examiner, and if you're able to, explain how that flare-up additionally causes a reduction in range of motion. And what if you get denied or you're not happy with the rating that you receive? Well, you're going to want to get a copy of that C&P exam. Did the examiner appropriately measure the range of motion to the point where you experienced functional loss? In other words, did he measure you up to where you began to feel pain, or did he measure the full range of motion? Did he ask you about flare-ups? Did he record the flare-ups in the exam? Did he appropriately try to guess how those flare-ups will additionally result in a loss of range of motion? All these things are important. And if the examiner doesn't consider them or doesn't properly record them, then that's a basis for an inadequate exam. And you could get another bite at the apple. Joint cases can be tricky, guys. Get some help if you need it. Visit me at vetlawoffice.com. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. And as always, you have the power to change your VA class.